Hi, I'm Steve, and I decided to start my allotment diaries. I'm inspired by lots of the YouTubers that have been doing that, and I want to start a channel tracking my progress. Couple of reasons really. One, just to keep me on track and make sure that I'm doing things and to document things for the future so I can see what worked and what didn't, and just to track the progress on the plot really. A bit of background to this plot. We've had it for about 12 years, and when we first got it, it was just like a whole bunch of weeds. If I can find a photo of it, I'll put that up. I think Mrs. C, when she first saw it, was almost reduced to tears, and she decided to leave me to get on with it. So we ended up first year, we cleared the plot, we black sheeted it, and then after that we set up some raised beds using some old pallet planks, and then once we'd done that, we had a reasonably steady growing period for the first few years. But as time caught on and we got the kids and everything else, it became harder and harder to keep going with the plot, and although we've been growing stuff on and off, potatoes, carrots, all the normal standard stuff, we've never really utilised the plot properly. So it came to this year and we decided that either we're going to have to change the way things are, because we were spending all our time weeding and mowing the grass and not a lot of time actually planning stuff and doing stuff. So we decided that we're going to revamp the whole plot, rip up all the old beds that were all starting to go rotten, and try and make it as low maintenance as possible and concentrate on the things that we actually like, which were the sort of soft fruits, the raspberries and the blackberries and stuff like that, and to be a little bit more planned and organised and start to do some more sort of succession planting and interplanting, so we're making the most of the plot. So we're in the progress minute of revamping the plot, so I'll for starters I'll give you a quick So this is our plot. We installed this new fruit cage, which is a big fruit cage, which was the big expense really. Everything else from there on in is had to be reclaimed, recycled and stuff. So we got hold of this with some scaffolding. So this is down to our main area. We put a new IBC tank. The shed there needs, as you can see, it's starting to rot out here, so that all needs reskinning. And also, you can't really see it on here, but it's sort of slanting that way a little bit, and that's because the mice have dug out underneath all the slabs at the bottom and it's sunk at the back, so at some point we're going to have to move that. So the top part of this plot is just a work in progress. And this is where we're going to have some beds. So what we've been doing is we've been making these beds here with old bits of pallet, and it's just things in this particular bed. We've got some turnips at the end, some spinach, then some onions and some radish in there. In our cheap cold frame, we've got a whole bunch of lettuces in here and various different rocket and other bits and pieces which we don't have any other space anywhere else for, but they seem to be enjoying it in there, so they'll be ready for harvesting and picking some stuff off. This end bed over here is our garlic. At this end we've got various different ones. We've got chalk whites, we've got Rhapsody white, and we've got, I think it's, the other one is an early white, I think. And then we've got some onions growing down here in this little bed down here that's just being protected by the fleece for the time being. We've got some mustards, a couple of pak choi in there as well, and some more lettuces down this end. So They all look like they're ready for a little bit of harvesting and picking. So in this bed down the bottom here, this is one of the old beds. Under the cover there we've got some beetroot, and then we've got our asparagus. Now these asparagus are hardy old things, and it's really hard to kill them off, because most people would think, oh, well, these asparagus were planted earlier in the season, but in actual fact they were planted 2 years ago in little pots in the polytunnel. We never got around to planting them on, so they'd actually been root bound in pots for like over a year, and now they've been put in there. Their roots are growing away nicely. There's our little apple tree. I think it's Red Windsor, and over here is the rhubarb, which is going to be moved. We're going to move, there's 3 plants in there, there's 3 crowns in there, so we're going to lift 2 of them and move them and leave the 3rd one in so we can carry on harvesting rhubarb next year, and we're going to move them up to the top of the plot. So down the bottom here is where we have our polytunnel. I've just fitted this one of these blow-away covers, so I've taped up all the zips and put a proper door on it, just to make it easier to get in. And in here, it's all a bit messy, but we have our one bed here with some pak choy and some more mustards and some more lettuce, and down at the end there that haven't sprouted out yet is some peas and some spring onions on the side there, and 1 tub of potatoes, which were some potatoes that were starting to sprout in the bag in the cupboard at home, so I thought chuck them in a bucket, see what happens. But we've got the wood there for another raised bed on that side, so it'd be a good comparison to see how the pak choy and the mustards in this polytunnel do compared to the ones that are out underneath the fleece. Over here is the newest project, and this is going to be a brassica cage. It's all made with recycled. These were all recycled trampoline posts and some old blue tubing we had. We had to buy the wood to get some lengths, because it's really hard to get decent recycled lengths of wood. The bottom's all pallet wood, apart from the bottom line, which is plastic. Decking, which we had knocking around at home, which we weren't using. So that's all been filled up. It's ready for a top level layer of compost, and then a bit of extra strapping and stuff needs to go on the top, and then we're going to be putting like an environment mesh fleece over the top at some point. Along here we've got our composting. First bed down there is actually active compost that we're making. This one's actually got just a load of old soil which came out of the old raised beds, and this one's got some compost ready for use. And so here's from the bottom of the plot. The plot itself is just a half plot. It's like about 8.5 metres wide by about 13 metres long. And in the fruit cage here we have 3 lots of blackberries, my little lad's tiny little oak trees, and we've got some strawberry plants here, which commented the other day, someone commented to me that it's very unusual to have oak trees, strawberries with pink flowers on them. So I have to find out what variety they are. This down here, calendula I think it is just wildly seeded there, so I'm just letting that go to seed, and then I'll harvest the seeds off of it. For some reason it keeps flowering. We've had frost on it, we've had anything, it just keeps going and going and going. And we'll go have a look inside. So down here is where we need to clear all this stuff, and we're going to have 3 lots of raspberries and a set of loganberries, which somebody from the plot down the way donated to me. I understand they're quite rampant, so hopefully we'll just be able to train it to the wire and keep it under control. And this is just a dumping ground for rubbish at the moment, and we'll be clearing this out in the next few weeks and getting rid of most of the rubbish, and then we'll be putting in a bed there, and the rhubarb will be coming down and being put down at the end here. These incidentally are the old beds that were there, and you can see they're just like, after all this time they've just rotted through, so we're getting rid of all that. And things, and we've had quite a lot of rain lately. So let's have a look at this. So about that. Oh look, nearly 250 litres in there. I think it's gone up about 100 litres in the last few days. So into the fruit cage. So what have we got going on here? So these are some honeyberries, and they're a bit like a blueberry type sort of family, but they produce sort of cone type sort of shapes. So those have gone in at the moment, hopefully rooting through, and a few spare beetroots in there, and also there's some elephant garlic in the middle. These are the blueberries. I think this one is a blue crop version, and this one over here is the Herbert version. So hopefully with two in there, they'll be pollinated well, and there is something that we don't want to be in there growing. So down here are the loganberries that got donated to me, and over here we put some carrots in just to test the bed really, and we put some of these purple French beans in. We haven't looked ready for harvesting. And then over here we've got a grapevine, which is a Lakemont seedless grapevine. So I'm not sure whether it's going to survive there because the wind sort of whips across from that direction. But hopefully, as I say, it's been in there, it's established, it's dying back now. But hopefully once it's done, we'll be able to train it all over the top of here, sort of along and over this way. And then we might take a few cuttings and put some more in either side if it doesn't stretch as far as we want it to. But first job of the day is to clear all this area and get all this stuff out of the way, sort through all this junk, put it up at the top there, and then we can get rid of that, and we can start putting these posts in for the loganberries and some raspberries. So that's the plot, and hopefully you'll follow the progress over the coming months. Obviously we're coming into autumn and winter now, so we're going to try and grow as much sort of salad stuff as we can and get stuff going. And this year we make sure that we get stuff planted on time, stuff in the polytunnel. Let's try and get some succession planting done and finish off some of these projects. So there's the fruit cage to do, there's the brassica cage to finish, there's the shed to sort out, there's the top bed to make, there's another 3 raised beds to make and put in. So there's plenty of work to be going on, but a little at a time. Try and get down here most days, do a little bit, and that way we'll see if we make progress. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.